And I think we're live. Hello, everyone. Hi, guys. Starting off with the poster first and foremost, just so everyone knows that we're all here. Just making sure we've got a good check on the sound and everyone can hear us okay. Big shout out to everybody in the chat room right now. We've currently got 58 people viewing us. This is a Lift-Off record. I guess it's a world record for Lift-Off because we've only been doing it for a few months. And at 59, now 52. Okay, so... everybody, I don't know if we can hear ourselves coming back there. A few people have now clicked on the fact that they can no longer hear us. So nothing's been missed. We've just started. We've literally just started. And hi, my name's James Bradley. I'm the co-founder of Lift-Off. Let me just click through to me. Here I am. Hi, everyone. This is our beginning of our live stream. We've currently got 3 filmmakers set up right now with the Google Hangouts ready to chat to you guys. But before we do that, we just want to run through a bit of housekeeping just to make sure everyone's all right and on board with what's going on this week. So this week at Lift-Off, we've got our free production launch workshop that's kicked off. The production accelerator is now burning and turning. That's live. So if you head to liftoff.network, you can get signed up to the production accelerator and start your journey into making your feature film and getting yourself market ready. Really exciting. We're having this is now the second initial launch that we've done of the production accelerator, and already we're seeing some fantastic projects coming through and getting some excellent feedback. So check that out, guys. Go to liftoff.network and give that one a check out, I guess. Also this Friday, if you guys are new to us, thank you so much for stopping by. Every Friday we are live at 12 p.m. BST, so that's lunchtime in the UK, and when we're live we are doing workshops, and we've currently got a workshop called 4 Great Rules for the Perfect Short Film Story Structure, hosted by me. There's the picture there of my ego, of me going, It's kind of a YouTube thing, I guess. We just recently hit 1,000 subscribers literally yesterday, and we're starting to do things the YouTube way. So this is us doing things the YouTube way now with our bizarre and crazy posters. So apologize for the crazy poster there. I've kind of put it up and I'm a little bit like, do I really want that? Do I really want my face on these? I'm not too sure. But yeah, this Friday, free workshop, lasts for about an hour and a half, maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit longer than that, who knows. But it's going to be the 4 great rules for perfect short film story structure. The Lift-Off Global Network receives thousands of films a week sent into us, and we have learnt what does well and what doesn't do well, not just at our festivals and not just with our audiences and our judges, but also beyond that as well. We always inquire about the life of the film afterwards, and there's been a few things that have happened that we're like, oh, that's interesting. So having that in a film and having this in a short film tends to be something that actually works. And we'll be talking about that on Friday. So definitely get tuned in with that. That would be great to have you in the chat room and to have you with us for the workshop. And also, if you miss it, don't worry. These workshops are on forever. So they're on YouTube. You can check them out. There's loads of workshops that we've done previously. We've got about 6 or 7 weeks worth of workshops that we've done previously. Things like how to find a producer, how to get your film festival ready, how to find the correct audience, social media marketing, etc., etc. Also, as well, at the end of this stream, we will be announcing our winners of the April Sessions 2020. We had a fantastic online event with that. It was really, really good. Some really fantastic films and some voting from all over the world. And it's been really humbling and an absolute privilege to be screening these first-time filmmakers. They've been unbelievably wonderful, and there's over 30 finalists that we had, and it's just been fantastic, and I can't wait to announce the winners. So we'll be having a drum roll at the end of our screening. So yeah, so here we go. Here's our guys. Here they are. We have Katarzyna, Tereza, and Sandeep. If you guys want to sort of introduce yourselves, we'll start with Sandeep and then we'll go to Tereza and Katarzyna. Just talk about who you are and what you're all about and what film you've got and what you'd like to be showing us today and talking about. Sandeep, go ahead.
Hi. I'm Sandeep. I'm a filmmaker from India, all the way from Mumbai. My film, The Disguise, is there. I hope people have seen it. I've seen the other 2 films. They're wonderful.
Excellent stuff. And Tereza?
Yeah, hi, my name is Teresa. I'm from Prague, and I will be discussing my film Beyond Our Lens with you guys. And I've also seen the other two films, and so I'm also excited to hear the perspective of the other filmmakers about their own work. And yeah, thank you, James, for having us here.
Oh, it's our absolute pleasure. Thanks, Teresa. I'm just trying to get out of the way of your poster. I'm in the way of your poster here. My head's floating in front of it. I'll move it like this. There we go. I'm not in your poster anymore. Katarzyna. Hey, Katarzyna, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hey, yes. Hi, guys. It's Katarzyna from Canada.
Katarzyna.
I'm with the movie Finding Harold. I directed it, and it was written by Shatrice Dalabai and co-produced with Shannon McNally. So we had a fantastic team, and I've also seen the other two films, and I'm really honored that we are all in the same room together.
Ah, wonderful. I'm feeling the love. Awesome stuff. Thank you, guys. It's really, really great. We're going to be starting off with Finding Harold first of all. So, Katarzyna? Katarzyna, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, Katarzyna. Okay, great. Sorry. I hate assuming. I'm awful. I'm such a typical...
You can call me Kat.
Oh, yeah. Kat. Perfect. There you go.
Yes.
Kat's ideal. All right, Kat. Cool. So let's get underway. Let's click through onto Finding Harold. So we've got the start coming up now. So where did the idea for Finding Harold come from?
Well, Finding Harold actually came from a conversation that I had with the writer, who also plays the lead female role, Shatrice. She plays Violet. She and I had worked together before, and we wanted to do another project. So we brainstormed, what can we do that would be a story that doesn't always get told? There are a lot of indie short films that are about, couples or roommates, or you see the same story over and over. And we wanted to really find a story that is not necessarily highlighted on the festival circuit. So we talked and talked and talked, and we actually stood in the lobby of her building for about an hour, and we just kept saying goodbye. And as we were saying goodbye, it sparked an idea: is, what if there was an older actor who had a thriving career for a time? He wasn't a superstar, but he consistently got work. And then time passed, and he was forgotten. And eventually he gets an opportunity to be in a play again. He thinks he's going to an audition. It turns out that he got the part, but everybody else in that room is young, very young. These are all college kids. They're all on their phones and tablets, and he doesn't even know how to text. So he is really fish out of water and left out and alone. And it's not until somebody notices him for who he really is and what he's really accomplished that he comes around.
Right. Okay, cool. And is this character of Harold, is he based on anybody from real life? Do you know anyone like him?
I personally have met a number of actors who have felt that way, and I know Shatrice has as well. It's something that a lot of actors, we hear a lot about women aging out of the industry, but men also do, and they get to a certain point and they can only be the grandpa. Or the butt of jokes as the funny old man. And we really wanted to show the full humanity of Harold. And one thing that Shatrice brought to the story is she really wanted him to be a Jewish man, because when he would have been starting his career, there would have been a lot of prejudice, and being Jewish would have caused a lot of problems for him. And so when Violet, the female lead, she is a woman of color, and she now faces a lot of prejudice. So that's a point of connection for them.
Yeah, excellent. I really feel like in this day and age that there's an awful lot of it's a waiting game now, really, in my opinion, for there to be an actual prejudice against the elderly. Because I say the elderly, a lot of people are like, there was this big hashtag that was going on about baby boomers and stuff, and it's kind of repulsive, to be honest with you, the fact that there's this massive disrespect to your elders. I was in Seattle I think it was about 2 or 3 years ago, and we were eating at a restaurant, and I remember looking around the room and being like, there is no one working here over the age of 35. No way. And that's discriminatory, really. It's discriminatory. It shouldn't be the case. And I really felt that Harold was definitely kind of you didn't play him up to be a victim, which I thought was good. You just had him in his element, being who he is, being how he is, and I felt that was really great. It was a really, you could have definitely have gone down a cliche aspect of it. I come from an acting background myself, and I definitely remember when we were at drama school, they would do this thing. Literally, one of the first classes, they would say, walk around the circle as an 85-year-old person, and everyone would be like, play the state and like walk around like this, and it's like, well, that's not how 85-year-old people generally walk. They tend to walk like normal people. It's only people that maybe have had like multiple hip replacements, and maybe they've had a few unlucky things in their time, but like 9 times out of 10, these are just normal functioning adults, and we definitely criticized them, and I think you really hit that. Were there times where you felt like you may have gone a bit over the top with it? Do you think, or do you think like you hit it right on the button?
Well, I mean, a lot of what you mentioned, really the credit goes to Shatrice, because we brainstormed the story together, but she's the one who brought this lovely touch to the script.
Yeah.
And we talked about it. We went back and forth with notes, but really I have to give credit for the way it's written to her. And also Jack Newman, who plays Harold, who is a Jewish actor. She brought him into the project, and he really connected with it. So it was definitely a bit of a balancing act, is how do we not make it over the top? On the other hand, it's theater. Yeah. And theater is a little bit over the top. So it was a fine line for sure. But we had an amazing team. We had a fantastic cinematographer, Justin Arjun. We had Elizabeth Hannon, who wrote music, and she brought a really light touch to the music that didn't make it overly dramatic, but it still tugs at your heartstrings.
Sure.
So, we had about 20 people working on this short film, and we could not have done it without any of them.
Okay, great. Well, thank you very much for those credits coming through there. It's wonderful to have such a humble filmmaker mention all the people that were involved in the project. Talk me through from conception to completion of the project then. Where was it originally concepted? Where did the idea, where did it come from? Was it a conversation in a coffee shop? Was it a moment that you had whilst, I don't know, having a bath? I don't know. Yeah.
Sure. So I set a goal in 2018. I was going to direct 12 short films.
Wow.
I had no idea how I was going to do it at the beginning. And at first I didn't tell anybody.
Awesome.
But then I did one, and then I did another one, and some of them were just weekend challenges, through ACTRA, which is an actors union here in Canada.
Oh, right.
Some of them were just, get some people together and let's do something. And by the time I had a few, word got out that these projects are getting completed, and people wanted to participate. So Shatrice was one of the people who wanted to participate, and, we liked working together on another short film.
Yeah.
So we just talked, we brainstormed, and, it came up with the script, and then a lot of people wanted to be a part of it. So we were able to do it as an ACTRA co-op, which is where actors create their own work. Yep. And I was brought in as a director, and it was a lot of work for sure, but it was absolutely worth it. And I did end up, that was actually number 12 in my 2018 12 short films. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, congratulations. I mean, that's a huge,
Thank you.
That's a huge achievement. Absolutely huge. I mean, crikey.
Thank you.
Yeah, amazing. So what's the plan for what's next? What's the next step for you?
Well, I'm really thank you. Well, I'm really excited that, Harold, among other of these short films, has been doing really well on the festival circuit. It played in Portugal, it played in Australia. We have, we're still waiting to hear back from a few other festivals. And doing all those short films did open up some opportunities for me. So I recently directed a web series called Zahara: The Return, which is a supernatural fantasy romance, and is now available on Amazon Prime in the US. It led to, directing a second unit on a television show. It led to a few other opportunities, because I know one of the messages that Lift-Off has is just keep doing the work, just keep doing the work. And if you just keep doing the work, no matter what, opportunities will come.
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
Yeah.
So how did you find doing second unit? Talk us through that. What was that experience like? How did you get the job, first of all?
Well, a lot of hustling, for sure.
Yeah, I
and
can
a
imagine.
lot of doing the work. I
can
did
imagine.
second unit on a feature film for the person who was also one of the producers on this show. The show is called Good Witch and is now premiering on Hallmark Channel, and it's also on Netflix.
Okay, nice.
For season 6, and we worked together on a feature film that he did. That was his baby, and it worked. So we worked together again, and there were a few other opportunities that came and went. Now with the pandemic, everything is shut down, as you know, here in Canada as well. So we'll see what happens. But the thing with doing second unit or working on someone else's show or any TV show is that you have to respect the show, and you have to respect their vision. And it's not about, oh, let me come in and fix your show, or let me do it this way because that's what I feel like. You have to say, no, what is the show that we're making, and how can I serve this story? How can I give you what you need?
Okay, fantastic. So what's been do you think has been the biggest challenge for making Finding Harold, getting that set up for you? What was the biggest sort of the biggest kind of hurdle that you had in production?
The biggest hurdles actually came in post-production.
Yep.
Just because we shot in 5K, which is a lot harder to work with than HD, as you know. And it's just because we couldn't have everybody in the room together for post-production, that made it more difficult. But, you find your way around it. There's no reason not to collaborate remotely. So that's one thing that I've gotten good at with these short projects is that there's no reason why one person can't be in, look at us now. You're in the UK, I'm in Canada. We have somebody in India, somebody in Prague.
I know, it's crazy. A couple of people are just harped up in the chat room as well, saying that they're from. We got a guy from Spain, someone from Spain coming through. Mr. Romero, lovely to hear from you. Fantastic to see you guys here. Someone from Cuba, someone from Ghana. We've got Rusky Seas being cocky. That's nice to see. I've got all sorts of people being funny in the chat room here. Very good, very, very good. All right, cool. So opening up to Sandeep and Tereza, what did you guys think of the film overall?
Who should start?
Yeah, I don't know. Oh, good prompt. Yeah, so let's start with Tereza. You talked first. Go for it.
I'm sorry, who?
Tereza, you go first. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I really enjoyed the film and the fact that it was able to send over a message, a strong message in a relatively short time. And I cannot really explain why, but for some reason, when I see older people and their struggles, it makes me very emotional.
Yeah.
And in a very maybe weird way, it reminds me of the Pixar film Up, which is probably my favorite film, including An Old Man.
Yeah.
So yes, I could definitely feel the emotions that Harold was going through, and I kind of would like to see where it goes further. So I mean, it was kind of an open end. So yeah, I'm curious where it would technically go if it went further.
What do you mean,
did he give up, or did he give up on acting completely, and did he say like, okay, I've done my time and it's time to I don't know, enjoy my age on the couch, or is he gonna say no, I still am able to perform like I used to, and I'm gonna show them. So yeah,
fantastic.
I would be curious
to make a sequel.
Great.
Yeah, definitely. Or I mean, you could even use that to be a pitch for a feature film. To be honest with you, has that been something that's crossed your mind, Kat?
Maybe we'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see. Yeah. Definitely, the key to the story was that if it weren't for that young woman who approached him and connected with him, he would have given up.
Yeah, of course.
But because she reached out in a human way, and because he realized how much he had inspired her with his career, he may come back tomorrow.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, lovely. Yeah, I love it. I love it. I really think your point's really well found as well, Tereza, about where you're talking about that it's a certain type of vulnerability, isn't it, that older people have, and you do. Yeah, it goes beyond empathy almost. It's crazy, but you're absolutely right. Yeah, it definitely got me without a doubt. Cool. All right, nice one, Kat. So, Sandeep, what did you think? What did you think of the film?
See, I generally like films which are very subtle, which this film is. I like the fact that there's so much is said in this film. I think Katarzyna has not, overtly played technique too much. So she's made us feel the characters. So that's lovely. I think the stays on Harold beyond his dialogue. There's so many. I've always felt that an actor can contribute so much beyond the script, because I think the character is formed in the audience's head. So actually, between the actor's performance and what the director conceives and the writer conceives, and finally what the audience chemistry it brings into his or her head, is where the character is formed. So the silences of Harold is something which I really found very poignant. Inside, and then when he comes outside, and the way he talks to that girl, talking about get inside quickly or catch cold, that was a lovely touch, I thought. So I also found it very touching in the end, and I do feel you should explore the possibility. I did want to know more about Harold later. What happens when he gets back home? What is he thinking? And does he get another opportunity? That kind of stuff. So I think you should really get down with the writer and try to figure out if you can bring out a feature film out of this. Yeah. I'd want to see it.
I would. I definitely would. Yeah, without a doubt, Kat. Definitely. I think that the power that in the actors, you're saying the actors ensemble kind of creating their own work and then getting yourself in as a director. If there are any actors currently watching this, we love this type of stuff. This kind of actors leading it through, because normally what you would find is that if actors are emotionally invested from the very beginning of the conception, and this is a big tip to any filmmaker out there that's currently working on their own script and looking to make their own work. Get the actors in as soon as possible and get them workshopping and get them working on the script, get them building their characters from the ground up, because then you get complete commitment from the actors, number one, but you also get an incredibly rich and naturalistic piece, because the impulses that actors have, they've already had the impulse during the process of rehearsal, but not even rehearsal, during the process of creating the script. So there's no problem about learning lines, there's no problem about finding the marker or anything like that. They know the story inside out. Did you find that, Kat?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, it happens in theatre so much. You get scratch nights, you get theatre companies like Steppenwolf, for example, that are from Chicago, created by the guy that's John Malkovich, and Lieutenant Dan that's in Forrest Gump. They have a theatre company called Steppenwolf, and they do everything from concept to completion, all working as actors together, and they bring in theatre directors to kind of refine it and use their expertise in making it happen, very much like what I'm sure happened with you, Kat. And I can't stress enough, get the actors in as early as possible, and that it literally removes massive hurdles that get in the way. And like I said before, we get thousands of films sent into us a week, and the number one problem is the actors not taking the script seriously enough. That's the number one problem, and it's never the fault of the director. It's the actors not turning up, literally mentally not turning up, and not giving enough of a crap about the actual piece. And that flows all the way through, from learning the lines, from learning the character, from researching the world, from all that stuff. And it's, I'll stop talking. But that's basically, I feel very passionately about this, because we get so much stuff through. And you see something wonderful like Finding Harold, and you always hear that it's because there was this conceptual point at the very beginning where the actors were like, right, let's make this. Yeah. That's my thoughts and feelings on the matter anyway. I'm hoping that's not my phone. That's my phone that keeps going bring. I think it is. That's very unprofessional of me. Sorry, everybody. Just going to turn off my phone right now. Turn off. Right, there we go. live internet. There you go. I nearly said live TV then. All right, cool. Well, thank you very much for that, Kat. That's great. I hope you can contribute on the next film that we're going to be screening, which is going to be The Disguise. So we're starting now, Sandeep, with The Disguise. So talk us through this film, Sandeep. Where did the idea come from? What was the initial setup for it in your mind, and why and how did it all come to be?
So the idea of The Disguise came from the person who I call the soul of the film, Riya Mukherjee, who is the writer and the producer. So she's an old friend of mine. Just digressing here, but I used to know her 25 years back. I directed a play in which she was an actor, and that play happened to be have 3 male characters, and I wanted to cast her, and she's obviously a girl. So I told her that time as an actor that, listen, you have to help me adapt this play to include a female character instead of one of the male characters. So I remembered that about Riya. So many years later, I lost touch with her. Then I made a feature film. She came for the screening, and then we met again. And after that, I started encouraging her because I remembered from that time that she had this talent, amazing talent of being a writer. So I kept on goading her, write something. So one day she sends me the script, which was her first draft. It lands up in my email ID without any preamble to this. So I called her. I said, "What is this?" It's something which I have written. So that was The Disguise, which had come to me. So she had a premise. So obviously, then I've always written my own stuff. So this was a new experience for me to work with someone else,
Okay,
the writer. So I learned that the way to do that is to fight a lot. So we fought a lot on every scene.
Yeah.
But I tried to make sure that I never wrote anything. I always used to give her feedback, and then we used to discuss. But I wanted it to remain her film, her vision. So I did not put pen to paper at all. So it's something which we may have discussed every scene, and some crucial scenes got changed. But everything was based on feedback between the director and the writer was right. Because she had to first own the film, and from her, the baton had to pass to me, and it had to become my film.
Right.
And then after we finished doing this, without a thought in the world as to how would we fund it, she asked me, "Who will fund this?" I said, "No one's going to fund a film like this to be shot in the UK about people in the UK when we are both sitting in India." So I said, "It's your fault. You wrote this film, so now find funding." So then
so written and produced.
Yeah. She put in some of her personal money, and then she went to a crowdfunding platform called Crowdera, which also helped her a lot. A lot of her friends, and she's quite a radio celebrity in India, so she has fans on Twitter.
Oh, great!
So I guess the fans had to pay a price for being a fan, so they kind of contributed.
Yeah.
So finally, we got some funds together, and then we were all set. What attracted me about the premise of The Disguise, which she wrote, so you see, we see this in India quite a bit. Large metropolis, people with roots coming in, let's say a city like Bombay, people from all over India coming as well as abroad. And the friction it creates between how much of your identity you want to retain as having a certain ethnicity, and how much do you want to let go in the effort to round off your edges, because you have to survive in the city. Survive with different kinds of people. What I found very interesting is that this was now we were exploring something in a large city like London, where it's truly global in terms of ethnicity. The ethnicities are from all over the world.
Yeah.
So that's the primary thing which I liked about the bias of The Disguise. And then the way she told the story was, so there is Islamophobia, there's all of that stuff.
Okay. Oh. Sandeep's paused.
Around
he's back.
None of that reflects in the film, and yet it's in every vein of every character of the film.
Okay. Sandeep, could you... Oh, there we go. That's okay. All right. We're getting a little bit bumpy on the internet there, Sandeep. Sorry about that. But I think we got you at the end, so that's cool. So talk to me then about the switch over to the UK. What did you guys come up against? Did you have people in the UK already that you could use, or did you have to find everything from there for yourself?
No, we didn't know anyone initially. So there was
No.
a co-producer who came on board called Nancy, who was a big help. And trust me, I went against all my rules of filmmaking, what you were talking about just now, about doing workshops with actors and seeing the locations and absorbing the locations, working with actors. None of them I was able to do on this. I auditioned all the actors online. In fact, the location recce's did not happen till 2 days before the shoot. But we had a wonderful cameraman, the Romero you spoke about from Spain. He's my cameraman.
Great.
Wonderfully talented.
Great.
And he actually, we kind of started to work with him online, and then he went around, jumped on all the locations in London, sent us photographs, videos, and I used to tell him that we can take this angle and take that angle, and we used to do all of that, and that's how we broadly selected our locations online. We didn't have enough funds to go twice to London from India.
No, of course.
So finally we landed up 2 days before the shoot, and we quickly saw the locations, met the actors, workshops in 2 days, and that's how we did this film. So I mean, it's a collaborative effort. So there's someone called AJ in London who was a wonderful help, and I think we almost stayed at his house. We shot at his house for sure. He also supplied us a lot of equipment. I don't know if he took any money.
Wow.
So it's the kind of filmmaking I love, because I think with all of the passion to do this film. We all wanted to really tell the story.
Yeah.
And what I loved about it is that I was actually, to be honest, I was scared, because I've always worked with people who I know before, largely. And here was a bunch of people. I remember on one night before the shoot, the first day of shoot, I couldn't sleep, and I was thinking that, listen, a lot of these people I'm going to meet the first time. And I got up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I told myself, hey, you know these guys, yeah? You know these guys for 10, 15 years. And that's the mindset with which I walked into the shoot, because I know. So every conversation which I started with anyone started as if I know those guys for 5 years, 10 years. And I'm sure they must have been shocked the way I started out, because that was the only mindset with which I could, because you have to be at your top game with the first shot. You can't just take some time to start getting, into it, because it's a short film. So I mean, there are only going to be so many shots. So that was a challenge, but it was also fun. It's a great learning experience for us.
Yeah.
So that's how this actually happened.
Okay, great. So you shot it Clint Eastwood style then. What was your average takes in numbers? What was the average number of takes that you did? Do you think?
I think 1:3.
3 takes.
We also had a very efficient unit.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it looks fantastic. Yeah. I've got to say that the look is excellent.
The other culture shock for me is...
Say that again. Sorry, Sandeep.
I was saying the culture shock for me also was the size of the unit. In India we used to having 100 people at shoots, and even the smallest of jobs is someone to do it for you.
Yeah.
And here was Iona, our art girl. She was a single art girl, and she did all the art, and she was working so hard. And I was looking at her. Normally in India we have 4 or 5. So,
wow.
So I used to feel sometimes awkward in Iona, that do this, because I thought she was working too hard. So all of these things were also difficult for us. There were just 2 of us, along with Ria, 3 came from India, and the rest were all from the UK. And in the UK, they were all from the different ethnicities.
Okay.
The cameraman Romero was from Spain, and there was Adriana.
Yeah, that's London for you. Oh, it looks like we've lost Sandeep again.
In London, but she's half Singaporean, half British. So there were people from all over. Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, Tereza, do you have any questions for Sandeep?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you slightly. Yeah, I think it might be if we could, if Sandeep, if you could just cancel your camera. If you could turn your camera off, that might make things a little bit easier. We might be able to we'll just go through the audio with you for now, if that's okay. Just because the internet on your side seems a little bit laggy. If that's okay.
Oh, okay.
All right, is that all right? Okay, anyway, Tereza, go for it. Your questions for Sandeep.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, first of all, congratulations. Really great work. Very current topic, obviously. And what particularly stood out to me was the score, the music. So I was wondering if you had it originally composed by someone, or how you went about that aspect of your film.
Are you talking about the music? Because I lost your voice in between.
Yes,
Oh,
she was asking about the score, the music score, of the piece.
Yeah, I was wondering if you had that composed for that specific film, or or how you went about that.
Yeah, so the music is composed by a 21-year-old young boy in India. He's my favorite. He's also my discovery.
Your discovery, a prodigy, eh? Okay, Sandeep's gone again, so we got a little bit of a pause on Sandeep. Okay, yeah, well, it looks like we've. Oh, he's back. He's back. Sandeep, you keep knocking out here, so we're gonna have to. I'm gonna have to insist that you cancel your camera. If you go to your thing here and you click on turn camera off at the bottom of your screen, that we'll be able to hear you then. So we'll be able to get some questions through to you without having to deal with the bigger bandwidth of a video link as well. Is that possible, Sandeep? Can you do that for us, please?
Yeah. Can you hear me now? Is it better?
Can hear you perfectly. Yeah, can hear you now. Yeah. There we go. Okay, perfect. Now we've got a gorgeous picture of Sandeep sat on a bench. Lovely. Okay, cool. Teresa, do you have any more questions?
Yeah, like, are you planning to take this specific project anywhere further, or are you thinking about developing it into something else?
So it's gone.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's already gone into some 35 film festivals all over the world. It's traveled really well.
Wow.
For us, and I think Ria is talking to people to finally put it on a platform so that everyone can see it. We hadn't thought of developing it further, but a lot of people who have seen it have asked us. In fact, as if it's understood that when is the feature film on this going to come out? So I've been trying to convince Ria to now come up with a feature film script on this. So it's more from wherever we've screened, and some people have asked us because they found something probably in it which they felt that it probably needs a more elaborate telling. It may turn out to be a feature film. Let's see. That depends on how the script goes and stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's traveled very well for us. I think we're very happy with the way the film has traveled all over the world.
Yeah, I think it's excellent. It would work as a brilliant sort of introduction to financiers. If you were to send this short film off to people, it's a great proof of concept, Sandeep. I think I would encourage that you show as many people as possible this piece, and if you got it crowdfunded as the short to begin with, and I wouldn't, again, like, I know that the fans of the lead actress obviously helped to get it crowdfunded, but it's a wonderful thing, crowdfunding. I wouldn't shy away from it. It's provided you're not asking friends and family every time you try to make a film. Crowdfunding is a brilliant way of generating audience, of creating audience. I think it's a great tool to get that initial audience up front moving and burning and turning. It's really important. So yeah, I would check it out definitely and see what you can do with that. Definitely. We would love to talk about developing it for a feature. let's chat. I mean, let's chat to everybody that's here today. All three of you guys, because it's Lift-Off can really help with getting stuff sorted out. I don't know if you guys have seen the production accelerator that we do, but that's a course that we've got online at the moment, and it helps kind of to get everything motoring through. And one of the modules is pretty much dedicated to getting a short film created that would work as your calling card to help you kind of get your work burning and turning. Kat, do you have any questions for Sandeep?
Yeah, I was really intrigued by the story and the parallel between the two women. So I'm wondering if, Sandeep, you could talk a little bit more about that as to where that idea came from.
Sandeep, did you hear the question?
Yeah, I think I got the question, so I lost half of it. But I think
Okay.
what you're asking is the parallel stories running together, how they discuss.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I would love to hear more about where that came from and how you developed it.
So the primary idea, like I said, came from Priya of these two parallel stories, and I think she wanted to show the counterpoint of one girl, Rabia, who wants to remain close to her roots willingly, and the other one, Lena, who is actually in denial of her own roots because she wants to fit in. And what I liked is that we start these two parallels. We start with one story, and something happens at the bus stop, and which kind of immediately, apart from everything else which happens at the bus stop, it also connects screenplay-wise both the stories. And that's where you introduce the second character, and then you stay with Lena, the second character, who you do not realize of her roots till you reach home and you see her mother, and you realize that she is in denial of her roots. And then we wanted to play with both the tracks and find, the challenge in the screenplay was because both the characters have no relation to each other, how to still bring it together as a film for it to be, holding emotionally and dramatically. That one thing is happening to one person and something else is happening to the other person, how it's kind of connected in some way or the other.
Yeah.
So that's where we went a bit up and down in the screenplay. But I think eventually we managed, and we kind of I think the movement of both the characters happened in the reverse, where Rabia was encouraged and motivated to maybe try for a day how it would be, how life would be to try to fit in, and how Lena once goes closer to her roots. So what you see in the end is actually, and a lot of people have asked us this question, what you see in the end is, we don't know where the journey will end. That's why the end is in a bus. It's a journey. And this is something which they're trying. And one wanted to keep the end a little open because we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, whether they'll go back to their roots, what they'll decide, what their conclusion, what the people's reaction to them would be, how they would take it. So that's something we kept a little open. Probably one of the things which is why people are saying that, listen, I want to see more of this, and which is why we are being encouraged to develop it into a feature script. So the idea was to get the counterpoint. It's a short film, so obviously, if I tried to tell the same story in a longer format, it would have had some more slow cooking, slow burning of both the characters and how the transformation happens. But we made it little pat, just to be able to juxtapose both the tracks together and how they change over. So that's the primary thought behind having those two characters, to show both sides of the spectrum, what can happen on either side of the spectrum.
Okay, cool. Fantastic stuff. Fantastic. Well, Sandeep, I think it's a great achievement, this film, and I think the fact that you came over from India to shoot it in London, I mean, it speaks volumes to your ingenuity and your abilities as a filmmaker to get stuff done. What's next in the pipeline for you? What's the next project you're going to be working on?
Yeah, so there are a couple of feature film scripts which I have written. One of them happens to be based in Texas. It's a road film based in Texas, going towards Mexico. It seems like, to start with, it seems like a convict drama, but it turns out to be something else. kind of realize the history between the conflict. And it brings out a lot of issues about women's rights, a lot of issues about racism, how prejudices affect people's behavior. So I mean, I'm trying to. So my learning, one of the learnings from this guys for me was, art-wise and visually, because in India there is a certain Eastern style of filmmaking, which is a little more colorful, which has a little more dialogue sometimes, a little more family, a little more warmth. So, and with the disguise, my learning was, because it was meant to be made with the international sensibility. I wanted to make it with the international sensibility by an Indian filmmaker. So it had to be a fusion of sorts. So I mean, when I thought about it, I thought that I should be like the characters in my film, that not lose my roots, and yet be able to be amenable to an international audience. So I've tried to now push the envelope further with Miles to Go, which is the international film, feature film, which I was talking about just now, based in Texas. Where the same kind of fusion which I'm trying in terms of going deep into the character's eyes, trying to. So it's like a Miles to Go is like, we call it Miles to Go because it's a personal journey. Which the physical journey on the road reflects the personal journey of each of the characters. So actually the film makes you introspect a lot. So that's one film which I am hoping, and I was already talking to some people before this crisis came up. So hopefully, once it tides over, then we can talk further. And then there are a couple of films in India which I want to make a satire on Kashmir, which I've written a few years back. And Kashmir, as everyone would know, is a flashpoint. And I mean, it's a province which is surrounded by superpowers who are nuclear tipped, and everyone's interested in Kashmir except being interested in the Kashmiri people. And so I've gone to Kashmir many times, and I've spoken to a lot of local Kashmiris. They're the laziest people in the world. They have such cold winters that they'll be inside their houses for 3 months because the snow will cover their doors, and they don't want to work. They just are dependent on tourism. They don't want to be part of any politics. They don't know who's talking what, and these guys are like everyone's interested in them because of godforsaken reasons, and that's the story I want to tell. It's a satire about an ordinary Kashmiri man who all he wants is to elope with the girl he loves and get married to her. And then what happens to him? That's all his dream is. So it's a rip rolling comedy, which I'm really keen. But I mean, in India there is a certain kind of filmmaking which is more popular. So I'll put together that film and I'll probably make it. Let's see which one takes off next.
Okay, great. Well, fantastic, Sandeep. I wish you all the very best, and definitely keep in touch and let us know what's going to be happening. That sounds. Hopefully, I mean, I know Texas is going into a little bit of a crazy situation at the moment with regards to the outbreak. So, fingers crossed that ends soon as possible, and you can get out there and start shooting. Best of luck, Sandeep, with that. Okay, great. So let's move on. Let's move on to Kat's film. So we're going through to Kat. So
you mean Tereza?
Oh, Tereza. Sorry, we've already done Kat's. Tereza. So tell us everything about this film, Beyond Her Lens. What started the whole thing? Where did this all come from? And just give us a little bit of an insight as to why the film was created and the concept and where it was shot and all that stuff. We want to know everything.
Oh wow.
No pressure.
It actually started while I was brainstorming with a fellow filmmaker from Germany. And our initial idea was to create a story about a situation that was happening at that time, which was that there were several German journalists arrested in Turkey And so we wanted to show how, how that event could have an impact on a journalist like that. There was one female journalist who was imprisoned together with her son, who was like a toddler, 2 years old or something. I don't know. So, but then we kind of drifted apart from that idea, just because we didn't want to go into any specific conflict. But at the same time, I like the idea of portraying a journalist or photographer in a conflict zone, because my mother's friend actually has been doing that kind of work for the last 30 years, and I've always been very impressed, and I've always asked myself, what drives a person to go into an area like that, see terrible stuff, maybe get imprisoned or something, which actually happened to that specific reporter, and then, go home for a while, but then go back into the war zone, and again and again and again. And what then made the whole project more specific was when I saw an interview on TV with this Czech female war zone photographer, and I was really impressed. She was covering the war against ISIS in Iraq, mainly in 2017, and she made a documentary about the Battle of Mosul.
Oh, what was it called?
And it's called Inside Mosul.
Inside Mosul, right? Okay, cool. Inside Mosul, great. What is it? What was the name of the reporter?
Her name is Jana Andert, and she works as a freelancer for international news, television, and stations. And
so she's a freelancer. She's not even actually contracted. That's fantastic. So dangerous. No real sort of corporation looking after you, really. You're just kind of out on your own.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and so she joined these forces. I think it was called the Golden Division, and she was basically in like the front line of that war. And when you see that documentary, it's something I personally have not seen before. It's very brutal for my taste, and my parents' taste, since I watched it with them. But at the same time, it was so impressive and impactful, and I couldn't stop watching, and I thought, like, whoa, I have to meet this woman. And so that's where the idea for that film became more specific. And it's not exactly her story. I don't really want people to think that. It's just she was a source of inspiration. So not everything in the story really happened to her.
Yeah, sure. Okay, cool. And where did you shoot it?
We shot in a few places in the Czech Republic.
Wow.
It was a bit of a challenge because we shot in summer, and it was a very dry summer, but still not dry enough to look like the Middle East. Yes, yeah.
Powder of mortar doesn't look necessarily powdery when you're in a humid environment. Yeah, it's tricky.
Right.
Yeah, the camera lens is the biggest magnifying glass.
Yeah, so we had to look around for a little bit, and then we found this, well, I don't want to call it a ruin. It was just a house under reconstruction. And they allowed us to film in around there, and we just decorated the set to make it look like a destroyed city. And And then we had this little airport, which was also pure luck, I would say, to get the opportunity to film in and around the plane. And none of us had done that before.
Yeah, I can imagine.
That was really fun.
Great. And what would you say off the back of that statement? What would you say was the biggest challenge of actually getting this film off the ground?
I would say the locations.
The locations were the toughest part. Yeah. Okay, great.
Yeah.
And did you have somebody doing art direction, or was it everybody coming up with ideas?
Yeah, but I would say the core of all the different aspects were me and the director of photography, Lukas Hausenblas, who helped me with location scouting, and he was also the editor of the film. So
really?
We had, yes, it's a bit unusual.
It is.
But,
it is. Yeah. Have you ever done that before? Worked with a cinematographer that was an editor before, prior to this?
Not on the same project.
No, of course.
No.
Interesting. Yeah, it's. I would love to know. I would love to have known. I mean, they always say you should never edit your own film as an indie filmmaker, because you go in it with your heart rather than with your head, and you think about how difficult a location was. You think about how difficult a particular shoot was, and if it took you 48 takes to get the guy taking the card out of the pocket, you're going to have that in the film no matter what, even if it's awful and it doesn't do anything for the story or anything like that. Did you? I mean, you don't have to answer this, but did you find ever a conflict of art between the editing and the cinematography? Did you find that ever happened?
Sort of.
That's an honest answer.
Yeah, it was. Let's say it was an interesting experiment.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not that we didn't do it this way because we couldn't afford an editor, but he really wanted to try it this way.
Mm-hmm.
And I trusted him enough to let him do it this way.
Of course, yeah.
And I overlooked the editing process, and obviously some things had to be taken out because, you do have these feelings as a filmmaker often where you have a take, and it's technically not useful at all, and even though your brain tells you it doesn't fit in there, it's gonna be boring for the audience, it has nothing to do in it, but your filmmaker heart tells you, oh, but it was so great while we shot it and I really want it in there. So luckily we were able to find a compromise between those feelings, I guess. Okay,
cool. Well, I'm glad you managed to get to that. It's a tricky one, very, very tricky. I think that the one of the things that we've always noticed about editing, and something that I think is kind of key, is you should always have your editor on set, especially if you're making a short film, I think anyway, because if the editor's on set, they can say to you, I feel like we need a little bit more of this, and you can turn around to the editor and you can say, what did you think about that? And they can mention things, and usually editors are very good at spotting things like continuity, so having your editor on continuity, for example, would be a really good move, because they can double make sure that everything's okay, and then it's their head if they get to the edit and they're like, oh, hang on a minute, that wasn't supposed to be there because that was moved earlier on, and you're like, that's your fault. So that could also be a thing. But very interesting, very, very interesting. I wonder if you guys have got any questions. We'll start with Sandeep and then we'll go to Kat. Sandeep, do you have any questions at all for Tereza? And Sandeep, yep.
I had a question for Tereza. I thought, Tereza, obviously the film is very well shot. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're saying the film was very well shot?
So, very well shot, but I thought the sound design was amazing. I thought the way effects, silences, and sometimes music was quite amazing. So I wanted to ask you, as a process, do you think of the sound design before, or later on at the offline edit table, do you then decide how the sound design of the film should be? Or in this film, did you think of it? Did you when you conceived the film, you read the script, did you think of what the sound would be like from before, the texture of the sound and kind of sound that you would have in the film from before, or did it for you happen after you saw the rushes, you saw the edit?
So obviously you when you shoot, you hope for the best outcome as far as sound goes, and yeah, I think sound is the part that gets underestimated the most for especially with filmmakers who are in their beginnings. And yeah, I had giant issues with the sound in my previous project, so I wanted to be extra careful this time. And some parts were a little bit of a nightmare. And I'm talking about the scene with the plane, because yeah, none of us had done that before, and it was so incredibly loud. And I'm surprised that the sound mixer didn't turn deaf after after doing that.
Yeah.
But to be perfectly honest, I did have in mind, but at the same time, there had to be a lot done in post-production. Yeah. Obviously, for the scenes that are taking place in Iraq, and yeah, I did think about it before, but at the same time, there's only so much you can really plan.
That's true. That's true. Great. And what about you, Kat? Have you got any questions for Tereza?
Yeah, I thought the thing that struck me about your film is that it's very understated, and there's a lot said in what is not said. Mm-hmm. You know, those moments when she's by herself at home and it looks like nothing's happening, but you can tell exactly what she's feeling and what she's thinking about and how she's haunted by what she saw. So I guess one thing that I'm intrigued by is you mentioned that this was inspired by your mom's friend. So I would love to know more about the person who inspired it. And is she the same person that we see at the very end?
Good question.
Sorry, I might have been a little confusing before. So my mother's friend is actually a man who made me wonder about the life of a war zone reporter in general.
Cool.
So that sort of got me into that direction. But then I saw an interview on TV with this woman, and I thought, wow, that's actually even more interesting to have the main character be a woman, because, well, we're still considered the weaker part of the population, I assume. So
yeah.
I guess people would be more curious about how she would handle the situation of seeing things that are happening over there. Plus, you have the aspect of women in their, let's say, 30s these days, asking themselves the question, should I keep pursuing my career, or should I start having a family, or can I have both, which in this case would be very difficult. So that's something that I think is more relevant to women than men, which is why, even though the original source of inspiration was a guy, I then turned the main character into female.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that as a female, she would have more access or less access in that kind of environment to take those pictures?
That is an interesting question that we would have to ask her. And honestly, I did not think to ask her that. You know, she mainly works in those areas where, you know, women are covered and she's not. So I guess she stands out more than male reporters. And I thought it would be actually harder for her, but she told me that while she was treated with respect, and even though she was in a dangerous area, she still didn't seem to feel disadvantaged or like feel like she didn't feel like she was in a dangerous situation, from what I could tell from our conversation. So yeah, I didn't answer a question actually, but honestly, I don't know. I have no idea. Yeah, it's hard to say. I guess that's something we would have to ask a reporter who's been there directly.
Okay, cool.
Well done.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. What did you find when you were doing it? Were there places where with the actor, when you were working with the actor, it's doing the actual reporting and stuff? How do you prepare an actor for that kind of level of immersion into a war zone? What kind of research and what kind of things did that actor have to go through in order to kind of get to that point of genuine realism, which is definitely what you found, by the way, and definitely what your actor found. Got some noise coming through. Oops. I think that's from you, Sandeep. Sandeep, could you just lift up your microphone a second on your headphones? If you can lift your microphone up, we just get a little bit of feedback there from your jumper, I think. Yeah, sorry about that, Tereza. So the actual like getting the actor up to that standard of like immersion into a war zone. What did you do to prepare them for it?
I originally wanted them to watch the documentary from this
Inside Mosul.
Yeah. But yeah, it was tough to watch. So not everyone wanted to do that. But we were lucky to actually have pictures, like actual pictures from the photographer. And I'm so sorry. I just remembered that Kat asked me if the actual reporter is at the end of the film, and the answer is yes, she is. I'm so sorry. I totally forgot to answer that.
I thought you poo-pooed it. I thought you said that the reporter at the end was actually a guy and it wasn't the same person.
Yeah,
confusing.
No, sorry. I think I've been a bit confusing. No, like the very original source of inspiration was a guy, but this story is inspired by this woman who made the documentary.
Yep.
And she gave us her own photos, which we were able to use in the film. So in the credits, you have that woman with her with her surroundings, and she also gave us some pictures of hers from her workplace, basically, not workplace but work environment, which we used throughout the film. And some of these pictures were so impactful that it did get the actress to the right emotion, I would say.
I can imagine. Yeah.
I have to add that the actress has been in the industry for over 30 years now. So she does have a lot of acting experience, but she has never played a character like that. So it was a very interesting experiment from that point of view as well.
Okay, cool.
And as for the little boy, that actor is kind of a miracle kid. I didn't.
You need them.
I didn't need to give him too many instructions to like really get him there to make him feel like he's scared.
Wow. Okay, well, that was one of the questions I was going to ask you, actually, because they say never work with children or animals, and working with kids. Well, back before we set up the festival network, we were in a state of parrying and jousting with short films ourselves, and we did one film with a dog and then another film with a young kid, and we were like, we're never going to make a film again. It was just hell. So well done. I mean, so who is this kid? Where is he? Is he from? Is he from Prague? Does he live in Prague?
Yeah.
Wow.
He does.
Fantastic.
And I found him on in a Facebook group where I was looking for a child actor very, very shortly before we filmed it. So there was not that much time for preparation, to be honest.
Okay.
And I was really lucky because that boy already has a whole acting career, basically. He's been in a lot of commercials, in a feature film here, in television shows. So he did not need that many directions as I was, worried. He wants to become a professional actor, and he's really working hard for that. He wants to study in the United States when he's done with school.
Whoa, okay.
He's a very ambitious kid.
Oh, fantastic. Well, wish him all the best. Wish him all the best. All right, cool. Well, thank you very much, guys. It was a little bit stilted today because of obviously technical issues and stuff like that. I think everybody's on the internet right now. If one thing you can say about this COVID-19 outbreak is that the internet has won. It really has. Like, everybody's on the internet, literally. If you're not watching YouTube, you're watching Netflix. If you're not watching Netflix, you're on Zoom talking to your family. I mean, it's literally, everybody's going to end up getting flipping radioactive therapy after this, because we are just Wi-Fi everywhere, I think, at the moment. So thank you so much to everyone that was patient. Thank you so much for such a vibrant chat room as well. We've had some really interesting comments. Lens of Thought has been really active in the chat room, being cheeky all the way. Yes, Lens of Thought, we can see everything that you're saying. It's been great to have people coming through. We have Paolo's coming up with some nice little things in there, telling Lens of Thought to chill. Very lovely. I guess that's what happens when you're a victim of your own success. You end up with lots of people in the chat all coming up with weird and wonderful things. Great to see Natalie Daniels in there, the general manager of Lift-Off. Great to see everybody coming through with this. It's great. And yes, excellent, Kat, for you getting back to the guys that are looking forward to looking at your film. So is there anything you guys want to just add on with being able to actually watch your films? If there's anybody watching that want to get in touch with you, is there any way that they can? Is there like a social media or something for your respective films? Should we start with Sandeep and then go to Kat and then go to Tereza, where people can actually find out where to watch your work? Sandeep. Sandeep?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I mean, the film doesn't have a social media page as far as I know, but yeah, they can get in touch with me.
They can get in touch with you. Okay, great, perfect. Okay, great. Okay, perfect. And Kat, you said we do. Yeah, cool.
They can get in touch with me. They can get in touch.
Excellent.
Yeah. So the disguise will be out on a platform probably in the next month.
Okay, perfect stuff.
So I guess we'll inform everyone.
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah, I'm reachable on Instagram. Feel free to message me on Instagram. It's just my first name and last name.
First name and last name. Okay, perfect. Perfect. What about you, Tereza?
I have a Facebook page called Hirsch Pictures, where you can find the latest news on our current project and everything that's going on. Otherwise, Instagram as well. Although my apologies, I am terrible at keeping up there. But if anyone wants to get in touch, my first name, my last name, I think I'm the only one under that name, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, perfect. Well, that's a great way to end. We're going to move on now to our big drum roll. We've got a big announcement coming up now, guys. We've got to announce the winners of the April First Time Filmmaker Sessions 2020. Would you guys like to do a little drum roll on your table just to start things off? You want to get a little drum roll on there? And then we'll click through. And here we go, the winners. I Am Josh Brockington, directed by Chris Case, is the winning feature film of the First Time Filmmaker Sessions April 2020. The winning short is Gisette, which is directed by Callum Matthews. That's the winning short. And special mentions go to Coast, directed by Iyanya Bativala, and Into the Dying of the Night, directed by Alexandra Berthon. So fantastic. Congratulations, guys. Congratulations to everybody. It was a really great